the night of September 11th, 1683. On the wooded hills northwest of Vienna, tens of thousands of soldiers lie on their weapons in the dark. Poles, Austrians, Saxons, Bavarians, an alliance that barely existed 6 months ago. Below them, wrapped around a dying city, sprawls one of the largest armies the Ottoman Empire has ever sent into Europe. Vienna has held out for 59 days. Its walls are cracked open, its garrison is halved, and its commander has already fired the distress rockets that mean one thing: we are at the end. What happens in the next 24 hours will shape the map of Europe for centuries. This is the Battle of Vienna, told the way battles make sense, on the map. To understand why half of Europe is standing on those hills, pull the map back. It's 1683 and the Ottoman Empire is enormous, stretching from North Africa through the Middle East, deep into the Balkans and most of Hungary. For a century and a half, Ottoman armies have pushed step by step up the Danube, and at the end of that road sits one city, Vienna. Capital of the Habsburgs, guardian of the river, the doorway between the Ottoman Balkans and the heart of Europe. And in 1683, the door is open. For a decade, the Protestant nobles of Habsburg Hungary have been in revolt against crushing taxes, foreign garrisons, and forced conversion back to Catholicism. Their leader, a young magnate named Imre Thököly, has carved out a realm across Upper Hungary and done the unthinkable. He swears allegiance to the Sultan, who crowns him a prince in his own right. Now the Ottomans have a Christian ally inside Habsburg territory and a frontier in flames, and it is this revolt that emboldens the Sultan's war council to aim not at some border fortress, but at Vienna itself. In the spring of 1683, the Grand Vizier, Kara Mustafa Pasha, sets out from Edirne with the Sultan's blessing and an army that grows as it marches. By May, it has reached Belgrade, gathering vassal troops and Tatar cavalry along the way. Contemporary claims run as high as 300,000. Historians today estimate perhaps 90 to 150,000. The numbers are debated, but by any count, it was massive. The Habsburg court expects him to bite off a border fortress. He doesn't. He drives straight for the capital. Emperor Leopold abandons his own city, and tens of thousands of refugees stream west with him. Left behind, a garrison of roughly 15,000 soldiers and armed citizens under Count Ernst Rüdiger von Starhemberg. On July 14th, the Ottoman tents close around Vienna like a noose. Now zoom in, because the siege is its own battle. Vienna in 1683 is a star fortress, angled bastions, a dry moat, and a sloped killing field in front of the walls. Storming defenses like these head-on is suicide. So Kara Mustafa doesn't storm them, he digs. From the Ottoman camp, trenches zigzag forward week after week, aimed at two strong points on the southwest wall, the Berg Bastion and the Lobel Bastion. Sappers tunnel under the defenses and pack the tunnels with gunpowder. Then they blow the bastions apart, piece by piece. There may also have been a colder motive for his patience. By Ottoman custom, a city that surrendered was the Sultan's treasure. A city taken by storm belonged to the soldiers who sacked it. Kara Mustafa, many historians argue, wanted Vienna rich and intact, so the siege becomes a calendar of attrition. Through late July, the first Ottoman assaults break on the outworks and are thrown back. Across August, the mine war grinds forward, tunnel, blast, storm the crater, and repeat, while the defenders dig counter-tunnels to fight them underground. On September the 4th, a great mine tears open the ravelin, the outwork between the two bastions, and it falls. By the 8th and 9th, breaches gape in the Berg and Lobel bastions themselves, wide enough for assault columns, and the fighting reaches the rubble of the walls. Inside, it is as grim as the trenches. Food is running out. Dysentery is killing more men than cannon fire, and the garrison has been cut roughly in half. From the tower of St. Stephen's Cathedral, rockets rise night after night, a signal to anyone watching that the city is at its end. Vienna is no longer counting weeks, it's counting days. But someone is watching. Months earlier, in the spring of 1683, Emperor Leopold signed a treaty with Jan III Sobieski, the warrior king of Poland-Lithuania. If either capital was attacked, the other would ride. The Pope's money helped seal it, and when the blow fell on Vienna, the alliance actually held. Through late August, armies converged from across the empire. Imperial troops under Duke Charles of Lorraine, Saxons, Bavarians, Franconians, and Swabians, and Sobieski himself, force marching from Krakow with the Polish army and his Winged Hussars. In the first week of September, they meet at Tulln on the Danube, barely 30 kilometers upstream from the siege, somewhere between 65 and 80,000 men. Command goes to Sobieski as king, and then comes the decision that wins the battle before a shot is fired. The direct approaches to Vienna are watched, so the relief army goes the other way, over the Wienerwald, the steep forested ridge northwest of the city. No proper roads, guns hauled by hand. An approach so difficult that Kara Mustafa seems to have ruled it out entirely. He leaves the heights above his own siege, the Kahlenberg, almost undefended, and his Tatar cavalry never seriously contests the river crossing or the woods. It remains one of the great unforced errors in military history. By the night of September 11th, the Allied army stands on the crest, looking down at the Ottoman camp and the burning city beyond, and the Ottomans are only now realizing what's above them. Dawn, September 12th. There's no single thunderclap signal. The battle ignites around 5 in the morning on the Danube flank, where the ground is least impossible. Ottoman troops strike at the Allied left as it forms up. Lorraine's imperial infantry answers, grinding downhill village by village, Nussdorf, then Heiligenstadt, house by house, vineyard by vineyard. The morning is not a cavalry epic, it's infantry work, slow, bloody, and downhill the whole way. By midday, the battle widens. Saxon and imperial troops press down the slopes in the center, and the Ottoman line slowly bends back toward its own camp. And here, Kara Mustafa makes his second great mistake. Even now, with an Allied army rolling down the hills onto his rear, he refuses to let go of the city. Thousands of his best troops stay in the trenches, still assaulting the walls. His miners still drive one final tunnel toward the defenses, hoping to breach Vienna before the relief can reach it. He is trying to win 2 battles at once. He is about to lose both. Meanwhile, on the Allied right, the Poles have been hauling themselves through ravines and forests since before dawn, cavalry, guns, and all. Through the early afternoon, Sobieski's wing finally emerges from the woods onto the open slopes, and by around 4 o'clock it stands formed, hussar banners, lances, the king in the line. The textbook move is to camp, rest, and finish it in the morning. Sobieski looks at the bending Ottoman line and decides the battle ends today. In the late afternoon it comes. From the slopes, the Allied cavalry masses, Polish hussars at the point, German and imperial horse alongside, around 18,000 riders in all, often called the largest cavalry charge in history. They come downhill, through the vineyards, building from a walk to a trot to a full, earth-shaking gallop. The Winged Hussars strike the exhausted Ottoman line, and it doesn't bend, it shatters. Within perhaps half an hour, the charge is inside the great camp. Kara Mustafa himself barely escapes, riding out of the collapse with the Prophet's holy banner as resistance dissolves. The garrison of Vienna, watching from the walls, pours out of the gates and falls on the siege lines from behind. By nightfall, it is simply a rout. After 60 days, the siege of Vienna ends in roughly an hour of cavalry. What the Ottomans leave behind staggers the victors: a canvas city of tents, the vizier's gardens and fountains, guns, treasure, and, legend says, sacks of coffee that gave birth to Vienna's coffee houses. Like the story that the croissant was invented to mock the Ottoman crescent, it's almost certainly myth, but it tells you how deeply this day burned into Europe's memory. The human cost tilted brutally one way. Allied losses ran to a few thousand. Ottoman losses, many times that, in the battle and the retreat. Kara Mustafa fell back to Belgrade, and on Christmas Day, 1683, the Sultan's messengers delivered his reward for failure, execution by silk cord. The deeper consequence unfolded over decades. Vienna was the high-water mark. Within 3 years, Buda fell to the Habsburgs. Within 16, the Ottomans had signed away nearly all of Hungary. The empire that had pressed on Central Europe for 2 centuries never seriously threatened it again. Sobieski, reporting his victory to the Pope, borrowed a line from Julius Caesar and corrected it. Veni, vidi, Deus vicit. I came, I saw. God conquered. If you want more battles told like this, hour by hour on the map, subscribe to Historia. History remembers the ones who charged.